Hey everyone, welcome to pregame with LeRoy Butler. I am Tom Silverstein, your host, and Mr. Butler is there in his cave waiting for us to start. I'm in Baltimore. It's a beautiful day, a little bit windy, but we have some inactive news to
Yeah,
deliver
let's
to
get to
you.
that first.
Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson will not be active today, and so Tyler Huntley will be the backup. The Ravens will also be missing defensive tackle Calais Campbell and their starting left guard Ben Powers. They've also lost a couple guys in the secondary to COVID, so it's kind of a banged up team. But so are the Packers, and they will be without Equinemius St. Brown and tight end Dominic Daphne. Marquez Valdez Scantling is active. Of course, David Bakhtiari is not playing. That was declared on Friday. And that's pretty much where we stand. So, first,
Yeah.
what do you know about Tyler Huntley, and what do you think he brings to the Ravens offense?
Well, similar quarterback from what they've been playing a few times this year to Justin Fields, Tyler Heineke. The guy likes to move around a lot. They're going to try to keep him in the pocket, but he's a very capable quarterback, as most backups are, but he fits this system well. And they're going to try to run the ball with Freeman, of course. But I just think for the most part, you got to take the think about the head coaches in this. And, the head Harbaugh is kind of a special team guy because he doesn't think Green Bay is one of the best. And he'll try to keep his quarterback out of harm's way, making so many throws. And because they only got five active guys in the secondary. So, I mean, of course, they already was without Humphreys, but this could be a career day for Aaron Rodgers if they can protect him. So I can see the Ravens trying to shorten the game a little bit, kind of muddy it up a little bit, make sure it's in the teens, and hopefully they have a chance. But if you're the Green Bay Packers, this is a team you should really dominate. Not so much for, who's not playing. It's just that health wise, you got your MVP quarterback, and they don't have their MVP quarterback. Sometimes, Tom, it's not that simple. But at the end of the day, that's what people look at. Aaron Rodgers is playing, and Lamar Jackson isn't.
So, if you're the Ravens and you're a little light in the secondary and you're a blitzing defense, do you still
Mhm.
come at the Packers? And if you're the Packers, do you expect them to do that? And do you come out throwing, figuring your offensive line can pick them up?
That's a good question. I think if I were me, if I'm Baltimore and I'm shorthanded, I would be. I mean, we're looking at the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers. A lot of them, those guys are, they're backups, and that's what I would say in my meeting room. I think we could beat them by rushing 4 or 5, and try to play coverage. I would double Devontae Adams if he's in the slot. If he's outside by himself, I'll roll the coverages to him. But for the most part, if that doesn't work, yeah, hey, listen, if you're gonna go down, you're gonna go down just bringing people. Now, sometimes Baltimore, they'll play their system. Their defensive coordinator, and him, he'll just line 8 or 9 guys up there, and it's up to Aaron Rodgers to guess who's coming and who's not. But they're not worried about Aaron Rodgers. They're hoping the center, Patrick, or one of the tackles get confused. Kelly or Nash get confused on who to pick up. You get a free runner into Aaron Rodgers' face, but Calais Cameron not playing, but Justin Houston playing. Who's a grown man, is a veteran. So they'll try to confuse him with some fronts, and hopefully a guy forget to pick a guy up. But eventually, you got to run the ball. That sets up play action. If you can play action on this secondary, there's a lot of big plays. That's why when you got the MVS, if MVS is playing, I look for him to get a lot of deep throws.
Yeah, Baltimore has one of the best run defenses in the NFL, and even without Campbell, they still got a
Yeah,
couple of 300 pounders, including Brandon Williams, who's like a
yeah.
360s listed at that. Can they run it? Can they get something going on the ground? And should they even try?
Yes, I remember having a conversation with one of my better friends in the world, Gilbert Brown. And I used to ask him and Santana Dotson and Reggie White and Sean Jones, what's the one thing you didn't like? It was like teams running it on the perimeter where they had to kind of chase. If a team runs right at them, they had no chance. So you get big guys like that. I can see Aaron Jones, and AJ Dillon run out on the perimeter and pick their cuts. sooner or later, Patrick Queen, they want to keep him clean as a linebacker. A lot of people thought the Packers would draft him. I mean, that guy's a real playmaker. If those big linemen keep the guards off of him, he's going to make plays. So the thing about the Packers, they can't get frustrated, Tom. Keep running the ball. And I know what Aaron is going to see. He's going to see Devontae Adams out there by himself with a guy, but it looks favorable. But you got a 7-man front as well. So he has to, like, what do I do? Do I be aggressive and take this shot to Devontae Adams, or do I run it because it's a favorable play to maybe pick up 10 or 15 yards? That's the cat and mouse of LaFleur and Rodgers. They got to figure that part out. They have a healthy dose of both.
Okay. And so defensively, turn that around. And if you're Joe Barry, do you pressure a guy that's not really in his DNA to pressure a lot, but you're also dealing with a younger quarterback who probably hasn't seen everything, though he's been around. Do you do that, or do you just force him to make a decision on throwing into zone coverages?
Well, without Kenny Clark, there won't be a whole lot of pressure coming up the middle. So I think for the most part, they're going to go back to how can you beat the Green Bay Packers? And it's giving up big plays. It'll be chunk plays like play action and try to put him in position, to throw the ball where they want it to do. They're going to force the ball to Andrews. I mean, that big, strong tight end, big volume catcher. And then they'll try to get Hollywood Brown. I mean, that guy's a big, speedy receiver. They'll try to get him in a slot. But if you're the Green Bay Packers, at some point, anytime a quarterback's out there, you have to pressure him. I mean, you have to make him make those checks. If you just let a guy just sit back and just see 4 guys rush, he can make those checks. But if you can bring 5, 6, 7 guys up on the line, now you have to set protection. You're hoping that he missed one and you get a free runner to the quarterback. So I look for them to try to confuse him with a lot of 4, 5, 6, and maybe even 7-man fronts. Sometimes the guys will go out of coverage. Sometimes the guys, they're going to come and try to get the ball out of his hand. As a defensive coordinator, you want to try to make the ball go where you want it to go. So if a quarterback sees a rotation, he'll force it somewhere, and that's when you get those pick sixes. So hopefully both safeties understand that this quarterback, he is not out there to run a lot of, because if he gets hurt, they're in trouble. Yeah. So he's going to be sliding a lot, so that's fine. But just no big plays. Make them earn it. That's the only way you can beat them.
Who picks up the slack for Kenny Clark?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Kiki will be fine in the passing, but Dean Lowry, Lancaster, Slayton, they got to rotate because this guy was splitting double teams. Kenny Clark was splitting double teams and making plays. They may not have that, but as a group, they got to keep 59 and 51 clean. That's your goal. It's not to make a lot of plays. You may even see that one of the defensive linemen for the Packers get a holding call. You cannot let these guards get up on these linebackers. If it is, now they're going to run the ball Freeman all day, getting 5 and 6 yards a clip. You don't want that. So you stick to that double team, stay in that crease, and keep pressuring to the quarterback, almost like a 2-gap. Because if you're not a great pass rusher, Tom, you got to be a great run stopper. You got to be one or the other. So if you can't get there, Kiki just go after the quarterback guy. Everybody else are 2-gappers. And make sure nobody gets to these linebackers.
Okay, and the $1 million question today is how big of an advantage does Baltimore have in special teams here, and what do you expect out of this unit, Packers unit?
Well, it's really because Tucker's a Hall of Fame kicker. Let's put him to the side. I just think that Harbaugh, if you think about him, defense and special teams, first thing come to mind. I'm telling you, they're going to be doing some fake punts. They're going to be doing some trick stuff. If Mason don't kick it out of the end zone, they're going to try to set up these wall blocks. If Bojo don't have a hang time of over 5, they just like their chances. So if you're the Green Bay Packers, you got to accept that challenge. Your coverage units got to be on point because it seems like the return units have never really been that good for a long time, but just don't turn the ball over. But the coverage units, that is paramount for you to cover and keep that ball inside the 25 or just outside the 25. If it's a punt return, no more than 10 yards. Otherwise, it's a long day. You play that field position game. You really don't want to do that. So hopefully the special teams, maybe they'll come up with a fake punt or a block punt. something like that. That would be nice to see.
Okay. Well, Malik Taylor is active, so I'd expect him to be returning kickoffs. Punts, we'll see if they go with Amari Rogers, Chandon Sullivan,
Well,
whether they have some other. Winfrey, yeah, although he
Winfrey, I
doesn't
mean,
have a
yeah, I like to see
ton of
Winfrey.
experience doing it. But yeah, he's got the quickness, that's for sure.
I think
So
he'll
what?
be at one of the flyers though on punt. Winfrey. I think he'll be at one of those flyers because Taylor, St. Brown is out. He was the other flyer
Yeah, he
on punt.
was.
So hopefully he can get down there and get in the punt returner's face and cause some fair catches.
Do you think uh, in the back of the Packers' mind that they can clinch the NFC North or playoff bid, depending on the way things go? Today is in the back of their mind.
Well, I think I've been in that position before. We always talk about getting home field throughout. We actually openly talked about it. It's important,
Mm-hmm.
especially this year with COVID and protocols. You'll be the only team that can have a bye week. You can sit back and watch who you play. And one of these 6-7, 8-5 teams, or 7-6 teams at that bottom trying to get into the playoff, they're going to beat somebody. But you got to put yourself in position to win. And Tom had a question that sounds like Tom works in the media. He said this
Mm-hmm.
smells like a trap game. Tom, there's no such thing as trap games. And I'm going to tell you why. That's something Tom Silverstein always talk about. To players, you got to be focused on, and any given Sunday you can get beat. And there's always 3 upsets. And I know what he's saying, though, Tom Silverstein. I know what he's saying. Because they're missing so many guys. It should be okay, the Packers going to go in there thinking, hey, we're going to go and beat them. But if the Packers think about it, they have one of the worst special teams. That brings you down a notch. Now, if you was number 1 in every category, I would listen to it. But the Packers special team is not good enough to take anybody for granted. And that's the reason why we asked that question. So, and I appreciate that question. But no, I think the Packers are focused on a couple things. Home field, number 1 overall, and being healthy. So if they can get guys back, fine. But for the most part, they got to try to keep that number 1 seed and win every game.
Right, and they do clinch with a win the NFC North. They do
Yeah.
clinch the NFC North with a loss and a Vikings loss. They also make it into the playoffs if the Vikings lose or if they win. So, uh, there's some things on the line here for them that they can take care of right away. But I do agree with you. I think home field advantage is more on their mind than anything else.
Yeah, because of what Tampa did last year. But this year, I got a feeling. I don't know where people are watching this, but I'm in the southern part of the state, and it's 28 degrees. I got to think in February, it'll be 9 below. So no
We'll
team wants
see.
to come up here and play in that. And that's an advantage. So that's what I'm assuming that's going to happen.
Okay. Well, it's in the 40s here today, a little bit windy, but beautiful
Yeah.
day for football. So we'll see how this all goes down. Anybody you want to thank before we head out?
Yeah, pickandsave.com. You can go there and get my award-winning vodka. Matter of fact, I got something special for everybody that buys it. So just hold on to it. But if you show your receipt to leapspirits.com, you can win tickets to the Viking game. So pickandsave.com, leapspirits.com. Of course, we're also selling my brats at Pick and Save Select Pick and Saves as well. I want to thank Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shields of Milwaukee. Matter of fact, I have a toy giveaway tonight on the north side of Milwaukee after the game. And again, if you're looking for a book, The Midwest Survival Guide, you got to get this book from my guy, Charlie Barons. Follow him on Charlie Barons on Instagram. And we're going to be doing some tailgating stuff too. So follow him. If you want to be in the video when me and him tailgating for the Viking game, we'll be more than glad to have you. But if you want to come to Wisconsin, pick that book up. And thank everybody for tuning in every week.
That's for sure. And don't forget to check in with my live vlog that begins in about a half hour on jsonline.com and Packers News, actually on packersnews.com. And don't forget for us, 5 questions, which we'll have on Tuesday. So from Baltimore and from wherever the heck LeRoy is, we'll see you next time. Take care,
Bye-bye.
everyone.